Yeah, and here we are. It's game number 1 of our day 1 of 3. It's Maru versus Mana. And in the upper left, in the red, he is Mana.
And in the bottom right, he's won the last 2 tournaments he's participated in. He's looking absolutely on fire. It's Maru. Looking like he woke up a few hours ago. You know, definitely an improvement. Sometimes Maru comes to tournaments and you just see like the messy hair and you're like, you definitely just rolled out of bed, Maru.
I mean, you know what? I definitely didn't just roll out of bed to cast this on. I feel that. That's understandable. I mean, it's not that terrible of a time. We did our best here with the start time. I mean, 7 a.m. Eastern. It's a bit of an interesting start time to try to make it as fair for, well, for the Koreans, the Europeans, the North Americans, especially considering that GSL Super Tournament starts soon. Next 2021 winter starts on Tuesday, I believe. So all over the stuff, we're trying to kind of keep their ideas under consideration. But Titan, in this game 1 here, we have a eBay block coming on in. Are you surprised by this at all?
No. If you've watched any of Maru's recent TVPs, this is him and Clem, actually, both of them have been going for this quite a bit. The eBay block, it just slows down the Protoss. The money that you invest doesn't slow down your CC enough to actually really cause you any harm. So you get your command center out faster than the Nexus with this build. Now, we do have something interesting, though, and Mana immediately as a response, that's a very close proxy pylon, and that's a very close proxy gateway.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So this is not going to be pure max packs in that, you know, you build your first gateway across the map. This is more of a variation that we've seen Parting do, where it's a bit more committed, right? Because you do have, it's a second gateway there across the map, but on the flip side, you do have more at home. You get that gate at home, you get the cyber core at home. And in this game, that's incredibly good for Mana. Of course, you know, because of the fact that he kind of needs to get rid of that eBay. So he's going to be fine there. Oh, God.
It's getting crazy. This is already exactly what I wanted. That's a shield battery going down. Mana, this is a full committal to actually just trying to stop this CC from going up. On the other end, I mean, Maru, I don't think he saw the probe. Mana did poke it out just a little bit. Maru has not seen it just yet. It's a Stalker and a Zealot coming across the map. This is exactly the type of spice that you wanted coming out from Mana, but you have a 3 racks coming out for Maru. Oh, and if he catches the Stalker,
yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, the thing, though, is theoretically, like, 2 Stalkers and a Zealot absolutely beats 4 Marines, but you have to be able to pair them up properly, which is not what we have here. But now we're going to have the Zealot in. It's a surround on every side as the Stalkers try not to die here. Zealots trying to get within the friendly confine of that shield battery, but no, it will go down immediately, doing its very best to try to make sure that something happens here. Now the Stalkers are on their way in. Second Stalker coming on out. Actually, I guess the third Stalker finding its way on out now. Maru, he's forced to be stuck on the high ground. And, well, we're going to have to see. Now, meanwhile, of course, Mana behind this, he does have his natural coming on down. But the thing is, his warp gate's just about done. This is effectively a 3-gate that he's going to be able to make, I believe, 3-gate. I think I counted 3 gates here, that he's going to be able to make something happen. Maru is going to be forced to give up the high ground. In fact, his command center is going to start burning. Yes, there we go. So it will force a little bit more repair. It will force a little bit more money to be spent by the Korean Terran. But look at this. It is not combat shields on that second tech lab. No, it's a concussive shell tech here, which is fantastic. It's so cool because that means, of course, that he's going to be able to catch all of these Stalkers. 1 stock concussive shells is done. And that's going to be really a big problem for Mana.
Yeah, and here we go. Maru thinks he has enough units to try and push down the ramp. Should have enough Marines alongside the SCVs to try and whittle down these Stalkers with that shield battery here. And Healy so fast. Finally, you're going to be having that recall pop. But Maru able to reclaim his low ground. He'll be able to shut down this gateway. And as you said, it's the 3-gate with the concussive shell. And I think this is just Maru. Again, it's just a minor adaptation. He wanted to make sure if it was actually going to be like a 3-gate committal to continue it on pressure, that concussive shell is just so much better for dealing with the Stalkers because you want that high Marauder count. And now that Maru's survived this, you know, looking at it, you know, again, Mana delayed his natural, as you pointed out, quite a bit. So the worker advantage isn't really there as much as you'd expect. And Maru's about to have a lot of units with this 3 racks.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is, it's so interesting because we see this build coming out of Mana and we're like, wow, this seems really interesting. You know, maybe he's going to have enough. And then Maru catches the one Stalker. Suddenly, it's not two Stalkers and a Zealot all paired together. Maru goes to that 3 racks build, which, yeah, maybe means he can't take his natural at first because he has to build up. But now we have this build that pairs so nicely against what Mana has attempted to do. Yes, going heavy gateway style against the 3 racks tends to be the proper response. You don't want to go Stargate. But as you said, with how committed Mana was early, with how late his natural was, with how slow his tech is going to be. I mean, Blink is not even halfway done yet. This push from Maru is terrifying. Now, we do have 2 shield batteries, and there are doubled up pylons, so we're not going to see the advent of, wow, shield battery just gets target fire down, pylon gets target fire down, but Maru's just going to stim on in here now, looking for whatever damage he can. Shield battery is now dead. Probes are going to have to be pulled to defend this. Yes, there's 1 shield battery, but it is out of energy. Probes pulled, 6 workers will go down, and Maru's army is still fighting strong, doing what he can to end this game ASAP, and he will. Mana, he takes game, or Maru, excuse me, he takes game 1. Mana does not take game number 1 there. There we go. Yep, and in the bottom left, in the red, he's down 1 game into this series, trying to equalize things. He is Mana.
And the top right, pretty short and concise was his answer to that build last game. It's Maru. And it looks like, once again, he's going to be going for that NG Bay block, although actually the pathing on that SCV might indicate that that's actually going for a proxy. We'll have to see if Maru's up to something sneaky here, or if he's just going to try and disrupt the Team Liquid Protoss.
He is a proxy 5 racks Terran. He's going to build 1 barracks for every SCV that he has in this game. It's absolutely the play. It's like, you know, a 6 pool is 6 spawning pools.
Yeah. 6 spawning pools with 6 drones, yeah. And then per spawning pool, you actually get more Zerglings. I don't know if people know that. The more you have of a building, the more of those units your larva produce. And I think Maru's going to be going for the same thing, but no. It's just the engineering bay block, so exact same thing in this game. Again, it's just kind of it's an ego test out, you would say, where it's just like, all right, listen, I'm going to slow you down. Can you beat me straight up? Probably not. So now I'm going to force you to either be delayed with your unit product or with your pro production and with your natural base, or try and be aggressive. And it is just Maru kind of saying, listen, I like doing this. Can you handle it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So on the flip side, it's another way of just getting your player all kinds of messed up. An eBay block does change the build. And again, as you were saying, if you think you're better, well, messing with things, that's going to be that's a good way to prevent your opponent from really from really being comfortable. But also, as we see in game number 2 as well as game number 1, Maru got like the 99.9% eBay block. Right, that's not all that common, especially when the pro was pulled that early. But I guess the STV RNG was good enough. So Mana, he's going to do that really interesting thing that we have started to see Protoss players do now, where he is taking his 3rd base as his natural, kind of on the same lines. Sometimes you'll see Zerg, well, actually almost always you'll see Zerg players do that against a Protoss player, pylon block. But this is a very vulnerable tech, especially depending on what Maru is going for. Now, granted, in this game, Maru is not too crazy, right? It was barracks into command center, into factory. We're not going to see any sort of Hellion drops, nothing like that, I don't think. So it's not going to be quite as vulnerable as it might be, but these Terran techs where they go and they force you to take a 3rd at or take your natural at your 3rd, and then they run Hellions in somewhere. Protoss player is going to be rather unhappy about things as the Marines are out on the map. It's only 6 of them, though, as this is not a 3 racks build. Maru showing a little bit of variance in style.
Yep. Yeah, and as you're saying, with the farther away natural base, this is something that we saw, especially in the recent DreamHack with the Trap versus Clem series. Clem oftentimes did like to opt for that eBay block, and when you're forced to put this 3rd far away, not only is it just the Hellions that are a danger, but it's also just where you're positioning your units. A lot of times it opens up the Terran to try and set up, try and get their army wedged in between the 3rd and the natural, because the Protoss is just naturally going to be trying to protect that 3rd base location a lot heavier. And so, it can open up a lot of paths. It makes it, again, it's all to try and throw off your opponent, and Maru is just going to be doing a completely standard build off of this. It's been Widow Mines and a medevac he's going to be going for. Potentially the Widow Mine drop. I don't know if he's going to walk the Marines across the map. It's something that he likes to do occasionally, and we'll see if that's going to be it. Otherwise, it is still just obviously perfectly fine to do the 3 Widow Mine drop, and then the transition behind it should be the double tech labs, and then those being swapped over onto the factory or onto 2 more barracks.
Yeah, so yeah, as you said, we do now have the Marines moving out on the map here. The Widow Mine drop is actually going to get spatted here. Great move by Mana with the probe on the Xel'Naga tower in the ballroom with a candlestick. But he will see that there are mine, or there's a drop coming on in, so he's going to have to be careful on that. Is his pull going to be in time? Widow Mine actually dropped off and running in. Mana is not paying attention here. Oh, last second. Nice pull there from Mana. But the Marines, they're arriving just now. Stark's going to blink on in. They will get that Widow Mine, so 2 Widow Mines do go down. Third one is up. Oh, 4 workers do go down, and the Marines in the natural. This is where things get spicy.
Yeah, and actually, Maru, I think he's just going to ignore the natural. He's just walking straight up the ramp to the main. Again, this is what happens when you're taking your natural base at the third. It opens up this position to just, for the Terran to just walk in, and already you're seeing so many pros be focused down. Maru, he's not looking for unit kills. He's looking for economic damage, and already 12 probes have gone down, even if he loses the medevac. This has absolutely been worth it. Even more going down. Mana committed to killing the medevac when it was already getting out of dodge. That's 16 probes. That is, I mean, I don't want to say it, but that's game-ending damage this early.
He is down 15 workers on a Terran player who has double mules, who has that who has that second orbital, who has stim combat shield. Well, will eventually have combat shields. Who has a +1 stim combat shield timing, hitting in about a minute. Mana is going to have to do some significant damage here to try to equalize things. And I mean, he is on, I believe, 3 gateways. Man, I wish I could hit the T button. But he is on some number of gateways, and we may see something happen. But of course, this is a Raven push coming from Maru. The whole game of, yes, I'm going to put an observer on the high ground. I'm going to be able to blink in, make something happen. It's not a thing. Not this game, not with the Raven here. So Mana, he may be able to get the first blink in. Right, maybe able to get that first observer, but very quickly Maru will find that one on out. He's not even going to have to expend a scan for it. Ooh, careful. Does Maru see that?
Even with it, I mean, Mana, he just cannot commit into that high ground. 2 tanks already out with the Raven and so much bio. Maru is just fully preparing for this massive 2-base push, and it should be coming right around the time that the 3rd base is landing. If Maru even wants to commit to it, Maru might just say, hey, listen, I'm actually just going to wait for, 1-1. I'll get my 3rd base up nice and saturated, and then I'm going to push out with the tanks. And the Raven, yeah, Maru is going to walk out. It's going to be a nice timing. Stim, +1, combat shields, everything really coming together. And this is really, I mean, the dream for the Terran when you do this opening, is that you get this much worker damage, and then your follow-up with just 3 barracks, the factory and the starport, is going to be just so potent.
Yeah, absolutely. That's 7:30 timing. I mean, you said Maru may choose to just go take his 3rd and turtle. There is no reason why Maru should ever do that. He is so far ahead in this game. Now, granted, we're not seeing 30 supply lead just yet in the army. We're not quite there where it's really starting to snowball out of control. But it is still 20 army supply. We're still at that army supply lead point where the Terran looks like they can get something done. Right,
yeah.
When you look at this push, if you think it's 10 army supply right now, okay, the Terran is not macroed properly, haven't got enough damage done early. In this game, though, I mean, especially considering this is mass charge lot, and there are still Widow Mines with this army as well as the 2 tanks. This push from Maru is going to be very difficult for Mana to stop indeed. Now, I guess the saving grace here, as Mana already just gives up his 3rd base, I guess the saving grace here is that the natural was taken later, so it has a little bit more money into it. So mining out of your 3rd is your natural earlier is maybe like slightly better, but it's still not great. Now the Widow Mines are going to burrow on up. Nice split off there from Mana, but Maru with the unburrow is going to be very fine here, just softly microing backwards. All of the Zealots are now dead. Observer dead as well, which means, well, the Widow Mines are dead anyways. But if they weren't, you wouldn't be able to see them. Now the tank's staging on up here. Nice double disable on the Immortals. Now DPS here. GG, Maru, 2-0.